Okay, it is Thursday, the 5th of September 2024 at 10:50 a.m. from Toogoom in Queensland, Australia. I just wanted to introduce two videos that you must watch if you have not already seen the first one. It was recorded, it was an interview recorded with Stu Peters on March the 22nd, 2022 with Dr. Brian Ardis, the chiropractor, who was led, divinely led, to come to the conclusion that COVID is actually snake poisoning. This 2.5 years later, he's put it all together, and as he says so simply, snake venom poisoning in the vaccine itself, in the remdesivir, and the water. From 2017 until 2019, throughout the USA, an emphasis was placed upon testing water supplies. Well, they were actually testing what would happen to their snake venoms in powder form when added into a water supply that would then be subject to treatment by chlorinating it, UV light, and adding hydrogen peroxide. And the seed of Satan themselves, the seed of the serpent rather, themselves were delighted to find out that their snake venom in powder form, when mixed with water under those conditions of treatment, were not degraded at all. He explains everything. I've ordered his book, it's available on Amazon. He explains it all. He gives the cure, which is nicotine, which is present in large amounts in eggplants, smaller amounts in potatoes and tomatoes, and green tomatoes in particular, about 10 times that of red tomatoes. Even the cancers, in the brain cancers, turbo cancers that have been taking off, they've proven that nicotine, when dropped or injected into a brain cancer, dissolves it. Within 72 hours, it's less than half the size that it was. So he was alerted January 23, driving to his stepdaughter's wedding in Denver. He finally answered a call to a 40-year Navy admiral who said at this very moment the Biden administration government were looking at a paper, the results of an experiment where people suffering long COVID, think snake poisoning, long COVID for more than 18 months, never smokers, were brought together, and each of them were given a 7 milligram patch of nicotine. Within 6 days, 100% of those people had 100% of their symptoms of long COVID, aka snake poisoning, vanish, gone. They know that nicotine repairs the heart muscle in myocarditis. It's truly, he's done an incredible job, and he is, of course, has been on the hit list for of the pharmaceutical corporations in all these years. He's looking more relaxed, if you like. He himself wears a nicotine patch every day. The interviewer on the second video just overwhelmed and astonished because he is coping with his elderly parents who are suffering dreadfully the vaccine symptoms. Anyway, long story short, I'll put the the links in the description box. It's over on our BitChute channel, the original from 2.5 years ago. I've changed the name of our BitChute channel from Christ is Back to The Father is Coming. I'll show you some of the tabs. What I urge you to do in the second video, he's telling the interviewer to open a new tab, type this in, and it's taking the interviewer to studies. I've already done it all. You can follow along as he's telling you to open these tabs and see for yourself how they've known for a very long time what snake venom does to the human body. Well, yeah, respiratory, because it thickens the blood and stops oxygen getting to the brain and the lungs and all kinds of things, and so people end up dying of a respiratory disease when in fact they've been poisoned by snake venom. They've been able to synthesize the venom. It's not that they're milking live snakes into water supplies. No, there are actually factories, and one of them is leading madeinchina.com, where you can buy all kinds of venoms there. Kono snail venom, which is used in beauty products to relax or paralyze the muscles, aka like Botox, etc. It's truly fascinating. He's easy to listen to, so listen to him several times, because anybody that you know is suffering. Nicotine patches freely available in the USA, Australia from the 1st of September. All things nicotine agents, as in vapes, patches, gums, etc. You have to have a doctor's prescription now, no longer freely available, using the excuse of teenage vaping, etc., etc., etc. Well, anything that's been a nicotine delivery system is now controlled, a controlled substance. Nicotine is a nutrient. It's not a chemical, as we've been led to believe. It is a nutrient that is, of course, abundant in the tobacco plant. As a matter of fact, he talks about what before cigarettes and all the rest of it, a snake bite, it was known to take a tobacco leaf and wrap it around the bite, because the nicotine from the leaf will dissolve right there and then and stop the progress of the snake bite venom. Let's go to a few tabs I already have open. So this is the revamped new The Father is Coming name of our BitChute channel. And yes, I've renamed this video from 2022, Dr. Brian Ardis with Stu Peters. The content, however, is Judaism's snake at play. And we'll start.
Was it really just how COVID-19 worked, or was something wrong with our treatment protocol?
As many innocent lives as possible. That's all I've been trying to do since May of 2020. As you know, when I read Anthony...
And I want to convey that right
Yeah,
now.
so there's-
Dr. Pierre Corey, you were right. Dr. Paul Merrick, you were right. Dr. Ben Marble and Zev Zelenko, you...
No, Dr. Brad Ardis then, and this is the most recent release. Thank you, Barbara, for sending me the link. The one interviewing, just amazed and stunned, and now he knows he can help his elderly parents who have been suffering from the symptoms. A few of the, here we go. It was Bing Liu, a 37-year-old research assistant at the University of Pittsburgh School of Medicine. He was the one who wrote the paper about, he was tasked with the investigation of what COVID is, and he concluded it was snake poisoning, snake venom. He was shot dead the night before its release, and it was put down as some kind of murder-suicide, some ridiculous, but he was taken out of the picture. That was in May 2020. Now, killer snails, this is from 2015. Another researcher in 2020, October 2020, concluded that the blood of vaccinated COVID victims, etc., had 36 venoms within their blood, 20 of them snake, 15 of them snails, and one from a starfish. So this woman here, 2015, she's a young scientist, believing that we can harness the therapeutic power of snail venoms found at the bottom of it's called the cone snail. That's interesting to watch too. But like all mad scientists, and this is sponsored by the World Economic Forum for young scientists, etc. So they steal their ideas and then use it for nefarious purposes, bottom line. So the conotoxins, that's from the cone snail. This is, again, another study, and this is on a brain tumor, a glioma, the most common. So how many fast turbo cancer brain tumors have you heard about? I personally have heard of one. But long story short, a glioma, brain tumor, turbo cancer, 24, 48 and then 72 hours after administering nicotine, there's less than half of the tumor still existing. Now, over here, this is the Queensland University. Made from snake venom, hydrogels could treat uncontrolled bleeding. Well, that's how snake venom works. When somebody's bitten by a snake, their organs shut down through a lack of oxygen because the blood coagulates and thickens, is no longer flowing, and so they're being starved of oxygen. And how many people, and it also paralyzes the diaphragm, your breathing mechanism. So how many people in the hospitals on ventilators because they have a lack of oxygen, or they likened it to high altitude sickness, lack of oxygen, except it was poison. It was snake venom. Dr. Ardis explains it all. It brings the entire world of what is it, how is it working, etc. together. Now, I will say too that in the original Stu Peters called it Watch the Water. Now that was rampant over on the Chans and all the rest of it. Watch the water, watch the water. Well, he named it Watch the Water. Dr. Ardis didn't have a clue what Watch the Water was all about or where it came from. But Stu Peters did, because it was Dr. Ardis who put it all together. That between 2017 and 2019, that's when the order went out. So this was under the Trump administration. That's when the order went out to do all of this water testing. And what they were testing for was they're powdered synthesized. They're not milking live snake venom into water supplies. They have factories all around the world, well, mostly in China, making synthetic venoms. And so what they were wanting to know is, does the venom powder mixed in with the water supply and then subjected to chlorination and then UV light and then hydrogen peroxide, which is your standard water purification process before it is piped into your private spaces of your homes. Does it degrade? Well, the report came back is no. They call it DNA plasmids. The DNA plasmids added to the water supply does not degrade after water purification. So that's how they were able to get it into a lot of people's homes, private spaces, in the water supply. And then, of course, you had the removal of the hydroxychloroquine, which just happens to deal with snake venom. You had the outlawing of every other protocol except remdesivir when people were taken to the hospitals. Why? Because remdesivir in a vial need to be kept at cool temperatures. He goes through it all. Was the poison. The administration by day 9 on remdesivir, the patient died. Always, 100%. every administration, every snake bite over a lifetime, it accumulates until the final bite. Unless you're a smoker. Which is why they brought on the campaign, now would be a good time to stop smoking. Smokers around the planet were the least affected by COVID anything. And now in the USA, running as part of their campaign is the Harris-Walz duo, where Walz is up there. He's going to put a 98% tax on tobacco products. He means nicotine. All right. Are these people dumb bunnies? Absolutely. Let's go over to, this is the conotoxins, we've already been there. Fibrin. This is naturally produced by our bodies when there's damage. However, if the fibrin is unable to be dissolved by the natural enzymes that we have in our bodies to dissolve this when as a wound is healing, then we're in trouble. And that's how everything ends up, the veins being clogged by what I would say is fibrin on steroids, brought about by the constant poisoning, body not having enough of the enzyme that does naturally occur. And this is why, too, they were doing studies on protease enzymes from pineapples, and it had a significant benefit to those who had long COVID, aka snake poisoning. Yes, so the Chinese, he was taken out of the picture early in the piece. However, in the January, snakes could be the source of the word brought to us by CNN. So there it talks about the two snakes, the Chinese crate and the Chinese cobra. And we covered this with the interview of with Stu Peters in the first video. It's all there, everything. It's there, all of it. Now, totally exposed and put together so simply by Dr. Brian Ardis. So with that, I'll put the links in the description box. Take a look over at the our BitChute channel at other information that goes back several years now. There's one there that I called You've Got to Love Creation. That's worth re-watching if you haven't already seen it. But yeah, Dr. Brian Ardis, again, thank you, Barbara, for sending me the link to that. And yeah, okay. Later, Gators.